Hello everyone, today I will practice reading English series video of Office English on the BBC Learning English channel on YouTube. So today I will start with the episode 1 Work Emails Office English. Emails, should they be formal, friendly? It can be difficult to know. More formal than informal, although at times you may get a smiley face from me. If it's someone that I've never spoken to before, then it's more formal, but I still probably say hi rather than dear. You know, those technicalities of when to write kind regards and when to write best wishes. Today on Office English, we're learning the best language for emails, however you are sending them to. Hello and welcome to a brand new business podcast series, Office English from BBC Learning English. I'm Pippa. And I'm Phil, and in this series we will be guiding you through the trickiest areas of business language and discussing some useful words and phrases for you to use in the office or wherever you work. Business language can be tricky, even more native speakers of English, and the workplace is changing all the time with new technology and more people working from home. So we're here to talk about some of the techniques and phrases that we use at work. At BBC Learning English, we are on fluent English speakers working in a British cultural context. So that's the situation we have the most advice for. But we'll try to point out where things might be a bit different in different workplaces around the world. This first episode is all about emails. We already heard from BBC colleagues that not everyone agrees on how we should write emails, but what do you think, Phil? Should an email sound like a letter? Probably not. Everything that email depends on the situation, depends on who you are writing to and why. But I think an email is usually a lot less formal than a letter. I agree. I would say I'm quite informal in most of my emails, but as you say, it depends on who I'm emailing. So in this episode, we are going to look at how to address emails, some useful email phrases, and how to sign up, depending on who you are sending the email to. Okay, so first off, the email greeting. What phrases we are looking at here, people? Okay, so the first phrase we could use to start an email would be to say, "Dear Phil, what do you do? What do you think about that?" I do use dear. Sometimes it's not the one I use most, but I do use it. And I'll tell you when I use it. I use it when I'm writing an email to someone I've not written to before, or someone who I'm a little bit scared of, or maybe someone who's very important, or they just see very serious, or if someone wrote to me and they used it dear, I look at what they said and shocked of mirroring. I do the same back, so I do use dear, but it's not the one I use most often because I think in an email it sounds a bit formal. Yes, I agree. There's nothing wrong with saying dear Phil. Nobody would think that was bad English. Yes, use it sometimes if I had to write an email on behalf of the company. So, a more formal email that's not from me but from the company that I represent. What I might use for a more personal email to a colleague or something is just to say hi or hello. Yeah, and actually, this is the one that I use the most. I think 90% of my emails probably start with hi, definitely with someone I know, and I will use hi if I'm not worried about who I'm writing to in any big way. Then I would use hi. It's not formal, but in the email, it's not very informal email, I don't think. Yes, and certainly in the UK, with more and more informal at work, so emails sound more and more like text messages, not completely, but saying hi or hello doesn't feel out of place. And one thing that I like to say sometimes, even I'm not sure whether to be formal or informal, is to start my email with good morning or good afternoon. What do you think about that? I think that's a really nice way to do it because it can sound kind of friendly, but it can also sound kind of formal. You can sort of see it in two different ways. Yes, if you sort of said good morning to someone when you were speaking, that would sound quite formal. It makes me think of being at school, and you would say shut up, good morning, miss, or good morning, sir, to the teacher. What about emails where you don't know the name of the person? Feel what would you do then? Well, yes, we've got on this formula for using in letters, the like to whom I may concern, or dear sir or madam, but they often sound a bit cold and a bit unfriendly. It does depend on the situation. It will be different in different countries. It may be different in different industries. If you are a lawyer, it may be different, but I would probably use hi. You don't actually need to say who you are writing to. You can just say hi. Yeah, that's really useful because when you say dear at the start of an email, you need to put the name of the person. You can't just say dear, I'm writing about it. That doesn't make sense in English. So yeah, hi is really useful. Again, good morning, good afternoon work as well because you don't need the name. You can also hide the fact that you don't know the name of the person. Sometimes people like you to know and have researched who you are messaging. Sometimes that's not possible, so just saying hi or hi there could work to be really friendly but mask the fact that you don't know their name. Right. So we started our email. Okay, next let's look at a couple of formula email phrases and when we might use them. Okay, yes, so we got this one here. Right into inquiry about what do you think of that? Well, that's kind of a formal way to say what your email is about. It's something you might write a letter. We don't tend to use it in emails as much. I might say if I was trying to be a bit friendlier, I'm wondering if you can help me with instead of I'm writing to inquire about. Yes, no, definitely is something that sounds very normal in a letter, but a bit strange in most emails. I think. Okay, we got another one here. Please find attached. And yes, this is one that you see a lot, and we might use please find attached in an email to say that we are sending a file or a link. So that's what it means. A more informal way of saying this would just be to say, here is the document you asked for, here is the report, or here's the link to the podcast that you wanted to listen to. That would be probably a more friendly way to write an email to a colleague or someone at work that you know well rather than please find attached. But I think please find attached has a place in the email occasionally. Yeah, again, we were talking about formal ones. Maybe if you are representing a company or writing to people that you don't know, a bit of guide for emails can be that emails are a lot more like the way we speak to someone whereas letters we often formal letters are often a bit different to the way that you would talk to someone. And finally, how should we say goodbye at the end of the email? What are the options, people? Okay, so our first option would be to say something like yours sincerely or yours faithfully. What do you think of that, Phil? Now, this is a thing you always get taught to put at the end of the formal letter. I remember at school being taught this, and I think it's probably still true for a formal letter, but I think it's a bit unusual on an email, even quite a formal email. I think it's unusual to see this. Yes, something that people might use instead, even in quite a formal email, is to say something like kind regards because it's quite formal, but it still sounds polite. Yeah, I actually often just use regards a lot at the end of my email, and it's because it's in that sort of sweet spot of being a bit formal but a bit friendly, and it means I don't have to think too much about what I'm putting at the end of the email causing I'm never sure. Yeah, I usually will say on the best or best wishes, particularly if it's to someone I don't know well or it's the first time I email someone, because it's quite formal, but it's good to switch up the options, especially if you are emailing back and forth a lot with somebody you don't want to keep writing the same thing. I just find the feels a bit strange to keep saying all the best, especially when they reply quickly and then you reply. It just like seem like it has to meaning by that point. Now this might be a very English thing because we do this a lot and often look for opportunity to do it. But if it makes sense to say thanks or many thanks at the end of the email, I will often do that. Yes, or you could say thank you in advance. If you ask for a favor in the email, you can end by saying thanks in advance, just to remind them that you are asking for something. If you are just sending a note route to remind someone of something, they can be useful as well. Short of thanks for reading. And I guess something similar is these phrases here. Looking forward to hearing from you. And it's your kind of suggesting that someone is going to happen in the future, but it's not. It's not an impolite way of doing it. It's kind of a friendly way of saying you are expecting someone's reply and that you genuinely you would to hear from them. Yes, I love that. It's one of my favorite. Actually, looking forward to hearing from you, and I will say that often when I will send an email to someone to ask for something. I'm not emailed them before and I would like them to reply, but I'm not sure that they will reply. So say in looking forward to hearing from you is really friendly way to kind of encourage them to reply and just kind of create a strength expectation that they are going to come back to you on what you asked for. So deciding how formal to be, email is tricky. Let's listen again to what people at BBC Learning English had to say. If it's someone that I've never spoken to before, then it's more formal, but I still probably say hi rather than dear. More formal than informal, although at times you might get a smiley face from me. Smiley faces in emails, what do you think, Phil? I'm not scared of the other person. I'll often use a smiley face because it is friendly and you can communicate a lot with them. But if it's a situation where you can to be a bit serious or you need to show a lot of respect to the other person, then it's probably not appropriate. Yes, definitely. I think smiley faces could be useful if lots of people in your office use them, because sometimes when you just write something down, people don't quite understand the tone of what you are saying, so they don't know if you are being friendly or serious or you're really annoyed. So a smiley face can sometimes help that help with that, but I would not use it frequently with or at all with people I don't know. With people who are senior in a company, usually is kind of about what the other person does. So a good rule is when you are replying to somebody to try and match the way that they are written their email. So if they are sending lots of smiley faces, you are probably safe to send them back. But if they are being really formal, saying dear and kind regards, it's useful to kind of match that in your reply. Yes, so do you look out for those things? Look at how other people study emails. Look at where they use smiley faces or not. Also think, does it sound like someone talking? If it does, it's probably quite informal. You not gonna have any problems doing the same thing back. Yeah, unless their email is really rude, then you might not want to be rude back to them. That's all. We've got time for this episode of Office English. Remember, you can find courses and activities to help with our English at work at bbclearningenglish.com. Next time, we'll be talking about meeting and how to get your ideas heard at work. Bye for now. Or should I say all the best? Kind regards. Bye. Okay, that's the end of episode 1. Thank you for your watching my video, and let's contribute your idea about my tone, my pronunciation, my reading skill to help me improve my reading skill. Thank you so much.